We've all seen the ridiculous and at times frightening security theater the TSA imposes on the flying public, like the little girl groped by a TSA agent the other week. How absurd is this? But better not complain or express any irritation, because if you do, the TSA could subject you to even more security and scrutiny at the airport. When and how will this madness end? Joining us now is a congressman at the forefront of the push for a TSA rollback, who wrote the legislation that created the TSA. Florida Republican Congressman John Mica. Congressman Mica, it's a pleasure to have you here. Did you ever think that the TSA would get to this, like what we just saw last week, putting the hands inside the undergarments of a 6-year-old, or threatening with more scrutiny those who've had enough waiting on these long lines to be groped or have pornographic pictures of themselves taken?
Well, from 16,500 to now just under, they're 15 people short of 63,000. It has mushroomed out of size and out of control. And it just is not a thinking agency when they're spending those resources on little girls, veterans, grandmothers, and others who don't pose a risk.
What can you, as a member of Congress, as the member of Congress, who in the Bush administration crafted legislation that created the TSA, which has now become a monster, my word, not yours, what can you do to rein them in so they don't commit crimes of abuse on little girls, and so that we have freedom of speech while we're standing online?
Well, first of all, I think we need to get a more sophisticated aviation security agency in place. TSA should deal on security intelligence and conduct oversight, set the rules. The United States is going to be one of the few countries in the world where we don't have private or contract screening. Get them out of the screening business. We're going to be one of the few. The only ones left are Romania, Bulgaria, and Poland, and the United States have this model of screening.
Well,
they need to concentrate on security, not on theater.
Your original legislation, as I recall it, Congressman, and you told us this on this show a few months ago, that authorized the airport, the owner or operator of the airport, to opt out of the TSA and bring in private screening people who would show more respect for the individuals they are screening and who could be sued, since it's so difficult to sue the government, as you know, when people were abused. Is that still the case, and is it happening anywhere?
Well, TSA's tried to close that program down, but if you closed it down, there are 3,770 administrative personnel. Now listen to this, in Washington, D.C., making on average $105,000 a person. Now what would they do if you didn't have this bureaucracy? But what they should be doing in Washington and other agencies is dealing with security, focusing on a small group of people.
Right.
And targeting those who pose a risk.
I got to tell you this, if the Congress doesn't do anything, the state legislatures will. In my home state of New Jersey, some state senators have introduced legislation that give you utter freedom of speech online and do not let the TSA touch you in a manner that would be a sexual assault. I wonder what would happen then when TSA agents get arrested by local police for violating local law. What do you think?
Well, the whole pat-down, I had it tested in January, and the failure rate is classified. I can't talk about it, but it's off the charts, and it's another part of the TSA expensive theater.
Got it.
That and the, some of the other programs.
Got it. Congressman John Mica, it's a pleasure. Thank you for joining us.